What was the question?
Trump versus Powell.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is a terrible idea, right? We just saw this in Turkey, didn't we? Like Turkey was experiencing like hyperinflation, and whoever the president was over there decided, I've got the central bank as well. And he brought in like 2 or 3 guys, and they all weren't doing what he wanted. And he's like, these guys aren't as smart as I am. And then the Turkish lira went to like 0 against every other currency in the world. The difference being that the U.S. is afforded this incredible luxury of having the reserve currency for some reason that escapes me, but whatever. I'm sure there's a good reason out there. All of you guys probably know. But the U.S. has the reserve currency, and so apparently we're allowed to do whatever the fuck we want. And I think that if Trump takes over the Fed, that will be a nightmare. And I also think that, look, the Fed's credibility is shot, right? That's why we're all in this room. Everybody here understands that. To the extent that they have any credibility left, whatever that molecule of credibility is going to be gone if he forces Powell out, and it's already on its way with him kind of ribbing Powell and kind of pushing him towards irrelevance without him leaving. Now,
the hard hats didn't help.
That doesn't mean that I actually don't think that Powell is acting politically, because I actually think he might be at this point. Like, you show me other points in history where the rest of the world's central banks are like cutting, and he's not. All the bullshit I listened to from these guys over the last 10, 15 years about transitory inflation, and inflation was a mystery, and we don't have enough inflation. Now we have too much inflation, whatever. It always kind of seemed like they were just doing whatever would make asset prices rise nominally. And so now, watching Powell wait on cutting rates, it does sort of beg the question, like, all right, what's his motivation? Having said that, having Trump as the Fed chair, or installing somebody as his proxy as the Fed chair, is an even worse case scenario, because then you're going to see a total loss of confidence. It might be the thing that breaks the dollar as the global reserve currency. I don't know what is going to do it. Something's going to do it at some point, because this is unprecedented what we're doing, and we're not going to be afforded this privilege forever. But that might be like a huge catalyst, because I don't understand how you explain to the rest of the world that they shouldn't have a loss of confidence in the Federal Reserve and in the dollar if something like that happens. And so I think gold goes to 5,000 and Bitcoin goes to, 200,000, like in a week or 2 weeks, if that happens. If he fired him before his term's up, I think that's what the reaction would be, because blurring that line, which is bullshit to begin with.
If that happens, you got to get that Bitcoin number up a little bit, I think.
Treasury, everybody here knows the Fed and the Treasury work together, right? Even Besant said it in an interview a couple months ago. I talked to fucking Powell when I have my morning coffee every morning. It's like, all right, fine. Everybody kind of knows that, right? But then to like blur it that publicly.
Yeah.
And, it's supposed to at least present as being sacrosanct. And when it's not, there's going to be serious volatility. And so I don't think that ousting Powell is the right thing to do. I really don't. As much as, look, for everybody here that's long Bitcoin and long gold and they're waiting for everything to go apeshit, that time is going to come eventually and inevitably, because the Fed only has one game, and that's print money. So I'm just saying, like, don't root for it tomorrow. Give it like 6 weeks at least, I got plans the next couple weeks. I don't want to fuck those things up.
If it happens that suddenly, it's not a super comfortable situation.